Dating is a marathon and not a sprint. The difficult thing is you could actually be taking literally all of the right actions, but you just haven't quite met that person where everything lines up yet. So a huge part of dating success comes down to your motivation levels. Can you retain your motivation? Can you retain your self-esteem enough to see this journey through? I'm dating coach Hayley Quinn, and if you feel like your dating motivation levels are running pretty low at the moment, I've got 10 tips for how you can try and restore them. Tip number 1 is to keep your feet on the ground and don't build high expectations too soon. High expectations too soon is often a recipe for disappointments shortly afterwards. So if you're the kind of person and you know that you wear your heart on your sleeve, and if you find someone you click with on a date, you're going to be messaging your WhatsApp chat of mates on the way back saying about how excited you are and you've met the coolest person, this is where you need to learn how to rein yourself back in a little bit more and be more balanced in terms of how you're engaging with people. It could be as simple as saying a mantra to yourself like, they seem nice so far, but I just need to get to know them a bit better. It could also be simply reminding yourself it's a maybe. So every time you want to tell someone he's such a great guy, or her sense of humor is so on point for me, or we just have all the same values, stop yourself and go, maybe. Because at those early stages of dating, you really are just getting a brief split-second impression of a person. You're not really getting to know who they really, truly are. So instead of getting carried away with that first impression, keep doing what you can to ground yourself in the present day and allow yourself to develop your expectations around someone gradually. My second tip for keeping your motivation levels high is to be honest and realistic about what somebody can offer you. And if it doesn't line up with what you're looking for, to be brave enough to walk away. One of the easiest ways to ding your motivation levels is to end up feeling like you're chasing someone who isn't reciprocating. This could be that you're constantly messaging a woman and she's not giving you any availability for a date, that you keep dating someone who's clearly communicated to you that they're not looking for the same kind of relationship that you are. Either way, the more you throw your good energy after bad, when you don't get that positive feedback loop, it's a very easy way to get demotivated. The third tip is to talk about your dating life in a positive way. Now, I know this is difficult and you're going to want to be messaging people and say, oh, my love life is so crazy, or I just met this totally nuts person, or I just always pick the weird ones. Be really careful about the narrative that you are creating for yourself around your dating life. Instead, it's going to be probably better for you to try to slowly adopt a more neutral perspective, which is, I'm enjoying getting to know lots of new people. I'd ultimately like in a relationship, but I'm not in a rush. Or when I meet the person I connect with at the right level, then yeah, of course, I'd be open to commitment. Try and get in this mindset where the more, as you're talking about your dating life, you don't talk about it like this crazy disaster zone. Instead, be more neutral, be more chilled about it. And this will also help your perception to shift about what you're able to achieve. My fourth tip for retaining your dating motivation levels is if someone tells you a reason why your dating life is so bad, you don't need to take that on board. One of the most annoying things about being single is that everyone has a reason and an opinion on why you're single. And they love to tell you, even though they haven't lived your life, they've not walked in your shoes, they like to tell you it's because you're too picky, you have too high expectations, you are unrealistic, you need to get to know people more slowly, you need to like different qualities. Whatever it is, whilst there might be a grain of truth in this feedback, this doesn't need to become your story. You don't need to then start walking around worrying that you have attachment issues or commitment issues. Instead, it can actually be really good for you to just go, you know what? I am okay. I'm on my journey here to meet someone and I will get there in my own space and time. So be careful as well about taking on other people's narratives for why you're single. My fifth tip is to take some time out from dating. Now, I remember when I was single, I absolutely hated it when people told me this. It was like, go on the back bench, you're messing it up too much, go sit down. And I don't mean it in that patronizing way. What I mean is, if you feel like you've been looking at the same wall for too long, or you're just literally hitting your head against a brick wall and you're not making any progress, and you just can't think of anything that you can do differently, sometimes when we get too stuck on one particular problem, we lose our perspective on it and our ability to be innovative and to think, how can I do things differently? What can I change up that's going to make me feel happier? If you're losing that sense of perspective, having a mini time out for yourself where you're not focused on it as a problem can actually just give you a bit of mental headspace where you may then have a realization of, you know what, I just don't want to do dating apps right now. I want to meet people in real life. Or, you know what, I'm just going to do a video call before I go on a date with someone so I can understand if we have a degree of connection. You just want to give yourself enough of a break that you're able to have those realizations that will allow you to create the change you need to keep your motivation levels high and to ultimately get what you want. My 6th tip is to change up how you're meeting people. Online dating can be amazing. It can give you so much opportunity to meet people that you would have never had the ability to meet in normal life. However, sometimes if you've been using it day in, day out for a while, you may find that you're getting slow to respond to people. You're finding the chats are becoming duller. Generally, it's just not doing it for you. If this is the case, again, take a break from that method of meeting people and instead switch yourself on to all the other ways you can potentially meet someone, whether that's speed dating in your local area, checking out a hobby or an interest where you think there might be lots of people you're interested in, calling up a matchmaker. Just doing something different is one of the best ways that we can get new energy to address an issue. My 7th tip is before you agree to go on a date, think, does this decision to go on a date with this person support my self-esteem? So if you're going on dates because you think you should, because you haven't been on a date in a while, because, oh, well, at least they like you, or they're not that bad really, notice the tone with which you're talking to yourself about the date. If you're kind of arm twisting yourself to go on the date because you think you have to or you should do, first of all, this isn't really setting you up to really get to know this person and be open to them. And instead, it's sending a very negative signal to you about what you deserve in your dating life. If this is where you're at right now, it could be better to, again, take a bit of space, a bit of time, restore your energy levels, and then choose to go on dates where you at least feel a degree excited about meeting someone. So if you're currently struggling with your dating motivation levels and you really want to learn how to be more confident with dating, get clear about it, I'd highly recommend you enroll in my free online mini training. If you're a guy, you can head to hayleyquinn.com/unite. And if you're a lady, you can head to hayleyquinn.com/real love. The links are below this video and I'd love to see you there. So my 8th tip for getting your dating motivation levels back is all about how can you develop a bit more self-care. I know what it's like when you have a big goal, like I really want to form a relationship, you can put all things aside in order to get onto that date with a person. You might find that you're cancelling on friends or you're dragging yourself out on a Friday night despite being exhausted from work because you're like, oh God, I've got to go on this date. Or you perhaps agree to a date with someone that you know you shouldn't really go out with, either because you know they can't give you what you want or because you're just not at all interested in them, but you do it because otherwise, oh gosh, you'll have spent a whole weekend by yourself. This is a signal to you that you need to make that whole weekend by yourself better. How can you make that more rewarding? How can you make that more exciting for you? Is there something you can treat yourself to, whether it's a new PlayStation game or a manicure? Like, what can you do here that will make that experience of being with you more rewarding? Because ultimately, hanging out with yourself should always trump going on a date you're 50-50 about. My 9th tip is to go on dates that you'll enjoy anyway, even if you don't feel a click with someone. Back in the day, I used to drag a lot of guys to yoga classes. It's because I was like, well, you know, even if I don't fancy them, at least I'm going to get a bit of a workout here. So think about dates you can do that, regardless of the connection you do or don't feel, that you're going to enjoy. Try and think creatively about dates. So we pivot away from the whole, let's grab a quick drink after work, and pivot towards doing dates which are more high quality experiences for you. My 10th tip, and probably the most important one, is to think in other areas of your life, is there anything that's really obstructing you now from having the levels of motivation that you need? Is it that you have a punishing schedule at work where you have really little in the way of free time? Is it that you actually are seeing someone who's already in a relationship and you're getting so many of your relationship needs met through them that you're kind of losing motivation to go out and meet someone who could be really open to being committed just to you? Look at your wider lifestyle and think critically about, is there things here that are going on that are actually stopping me from feeling energized about dating or feeling excited about dating? Anyway, I hope this video has really helped you out to regain your motivation levels. Remember, there's a really good chance here that there's something majorly wrong with you, no matter what everybody says. It could just be that you just need a bit of a pep talk. You need your energy levels to come back. You need some motivation and you need to get out there for a little bit longer. As a coach, I know how tough that can be, but I believe you can do it. And I hope you found the tips in this video useful.